Hello everyone. Welcome to Happy Science Meditation Seminar. I'm Bob Imai, Minister of Happy Science. Thank you for joining us today. First of all, let us recite Prayer to the Lord. Prayer to the Lord. Our Lord, Alcantara, you are the source of all light, all power, all wisdom, and all love. May you give us light, give us power, give us wisdom, and give us love. O Lord, our Father, please protect this planet of love earth. Protect us from all evil, and open a future for us. O Lord, thank you for giving us light. We give thanks from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you again for joining us today. Today's subject is stress-free living. The worries of people today have many forms of expression. But in a way, stress forms the basis of each and every one of them. Those are mainly entered on human relationship issues, financial and economic problems, followed by concerns about old age. First, what rated highest in the survey was the stress from human relationships. Specifically, the most common were the human relationships within organizations, such as with boss or superior at work. I feel that many of the relationships with those who were the source of the stress or those who hurt the person deeply at the time became nourishment for the soul later on. In any case, you may be troubled a lot by your relationships at work, but you should know that not all of the criticism from others are wrong. In particular, among the criticism against you lies the bud that will make you improve significantly, turning you into an even better person. Basically, you need to understand the criticism well and direct them toward self-improvement. Even if the people criticizing you are not so remarkable, their criticism could be useful. Even an ordinary person can look at the total picture of a remarkable person and point out the shortcomings, weakness, and failures. These are many aspects we don't know of ourselves. Yet looking at others could be as clear as looking into a glass bowl. These are the premises of democracy. Thus, in a democratic society, the more distinguished you become, the more you must listen to criticism. As your social standing gradually improves, what is excusable for an ordinary person becomes unacceptable. Even a minor slip of the tongue can put you under attack. There is a point like this. Particularly important fact for people who have a religious character to recognize is that such people are often extremely pure. tend to listen to others honestly and get upset too easily. In other words, it is just people have an aspect where they make an effort to not speak of others and impose such strict principles on themselves. As a result, they become defenseless in the face of criticism and attacks from people. They get deeply hurt and allow it to drag out for a long time. For example, when there is a criticism, you may suffer as a leader, but sometimes the criticism could be asking for attention. Therefore, you must not think about criticism so seriously. You cannot ignore it completely, but neither should you take it too seriously. You should all think about the level of the defense equipment you need for yourself in order to take these errors of criticisms. So it is important to build the strong mind where you can forget about it after just a one night's sleep. If you make conscious effort to do so, then gradually you'll be able to do it. People who both obsess over little things get hurt and end up dragging it out for a long time. In a sense, people with a lot of time. Hearing that you may hurt them even more, but this is actually how it is. They have nothing else to do. Being able to worry for years, even decades, about what someone has said is a sign of having too much time. Busy people simply don't have time to be concerned about such trivial things. Of course, I'm not telling you to completely ignore criticism, attacks, and insults. If that criticism is correct to a certain extent, then you should use it to improve yourself. This is the most productive way. If the criticism directed at you is right, you should accept it and consider whether you can use it to improve yourself. That is one point. Another point is not to get upset too easily and not to drag the pain over a long period of time. 1% of your worries is not trivial and is significant. You need to think carefully concerning that, but 99% is unworthy of any serious consideration or time. Apart from the stress of relationships, there were quite a few people who felt stressed due to financial and economic troubles. However, the worry of being short of money or suffering from not having enough is not something that started only now. It has been like that for most of human history. To begin with, economic problems are worries unique to human. Animals can neither work in the company nor take part in economic activities. On the other hand, most animals do not suffer from complex illnesses that humans get. people become ill from multiple stress. Thus, most modern diseases have mental causes. Animals don't have medicine, so they battle illness and injury with the natural healing powers they have. They may perhaps be stressed by the cold, hunger, or the danger of being killed. But unlike humans, they do not become sick from complex stress. Animals are incapable of economic activities, but due to this, they don't create illnesses, go insane, or commit suicide like humans. After all, these things are often manifestations of evil occurring in the world of the mind. Money doesn't fall from the sky. As Master Okawa said, in this world, if you do a job that others see you as useful, you will receive some from economic reward. If it will happen for sure. What's more, it's true regardless of the industry. In other words, your income is not decided by yourself, but by those around you or the general public, like the customers. Therefore, there is absolutely no need to struggle to make money. Always set your aim on a job that helps numerous people. It is important to make every effort to make it your joy to see the smiles and happinesses of many people and discover that kind of joy as the extension of your work. It is impossible for you to go without receiving any financial reward when you are helpful to people and appreciated by them. Even in the business world, if you have high aspiration to be a part of driving force to change the world into utopia by expanding your own company, that aim will suddenly be heard by people and collaborators will emerge in large numbers. There are many who are worried about life after retirement. Master Okawa has lectured at length about the meaning of death and post-death. Thus, the greatest fear has already been removed. You may be anguishing over ideas such as possibility of having a hard time for decades after retirement, because you have few relatives and no financial support, while you may be left virtually homeless. Or you may die a painful death without being able to receive treatment for your illnesses. But such worries are necessary if your faith is strong. You will live a healthy and active life. If you pray for the wish to suddenly die a painless death, then God will take you at the right time. If that happens, you can die without having to worry about money, and in a sense, leave enough just for funeral. There are many people in this world who say that they don't have anything and that they have absolutely no assets. But that is not true. Everyone has lots of things. For example, relationships are one such thing. Also, your body is something to be grateful for it. It is fortune to be able to walk on your own two legs, eat with their own hands, and walk. Please don't forget that humans are already given what's important for free. In order to live happily, you should hope to make many others happy. If you do, you can become happy too. Even if you try to make only yourself happy, you won't quite get it there. A proper break is also needed to eliminate stress. There is, however, another way. It is almost important to always stay busy and always have things to do, so that you don't not worry about the little things. However, if you have so much work despite giving it your all, you will have to learn to make decisions faster and finish your work quickly. People's minds are generally torn if they have more than one job. So I would like to say that it is important to quickly finish your work. I hope that you put the above tips into practice and are able to sleep well at night. Now let us contemplate what we learned today. Please check if you have stress in your mind and the cause of the stress in accordance of today's lecture. Also, try to eliminate your stress by applying the remedy we learned today. Let us begin. How about the contemplation? Could you find the cause of stress and the remedy for it? Now, let us practice meditation. Meditation of harmonization for human relationship. Firstly, let us recite prayer to guardian and guiding spirit. Prayer to guardian and guiding spirits. My guardian and guiding spirits, deep inside of me, you are the fountain of life, the light of hope, the source of wisdom, and the shield of courage. Every day, may you help me develop my soul and refine my mind. Every day, may you give me inspiration and show me the right path to follow. Please protect me from all evil and guide me in living a better life. For this, I give my thanks. Let us begin.
Next, we will cover human relations. This meditation for harmonizing human relations is a bridge between self-reflection and meditation. It relates to both sides. Therefore, in case you are not able to do specific self-reflection, I recommend starting with this meditation. For those of you who feel that the Noble Eightfold Path is too difficult to follow, this is an easier place to start. I urge you to consider very thoroughly how you relate to others and how your life is. Even though the existence of others may be the cause of your unhappiness, they can also be the source of your happiness. It is our tendency to have more negative thinking when it is in relation to others. Therefore, I wish for you to know once again, as a premise, how grateful it is to have others exist in your life. I am grateful that we have members. That means I am able to talk about these things with you. It would be lonely if I were by myself. The existence of other people is the source of happiness. I'm thankful that there are people around to listen to my talks. So many of you have come despite the rain. This is most definitely a source of happiness. How sad it would be if I were to think that nobody would come because of the rain, and I were the only one to show up. It is not a pleasant job at all if people come only when the weather is good, and stay home if it is bad. In this way, the existence of others brings both happiness and unhappiness. We must not forget to always be grateful that there are people around other than ourselves. It is because of this that we are able to undertake all manner of spiritual training. There wouldn't be any worries if there were no one else in the world. But such troubles as we have are our grindstones. They propel us forward. Well, there will be time later for further explanation. So now I think I'd like to begin meditating. This will build upon what we did earlier, but I would like everyone to look back into his or her past and think of the one person who has caused you the most grief, the most anguish. Think of the person who has made you suffer. Think of the person who has made you suffer for the longest period of time. Think about the one person who has taken up so much of your life, who has occupied your thoughts. Could be your partner, or a parent, or someone with whom you were linked romantically, or even a friend or a colleague. Whoever it was, find the person who, qualitatively and quantitatively, made you suffer the most. Next, that person, well, that's okay. Let's keep the same method. Imagine yourself somewhere you like. It can be your home or the meditation hall or any other place. It can be a cafe if you like, anywhere is fine. Then imagine vividly how it would be if that person were suddenly to be there too. Imagine this vividly. Then In 1 hour, resolve all the matters of the past with that person. What will you do? What will you say to clear away all the anguish of the past in your 1 hour meeting with them? Imagine that you are leaving, but you don't want to go home straight away. You go to a tea house nearby. Tea house may be a bit old-fashioned, so make it a happy cafe if you like. You meet there the person who for 10 years caused you to suffer. You want to run away, but as you have listened to this talk about meditation, you cannot just flee. You steady yourself and go up to talk to them. In truth, there is only 10 minutes for this meditation, but let's assume that there is 1 hour. What will you say? What will you do? As a Happy Science member, what will you do? This is what I'd like you to think about. Now, if you're all ready, again, breathe deeply, gently close your eyes. This is the meditation of harmonizing human relations. Please begin. Okay, time is up. How did it go? I too looked back, looked deep and far into my heart. But there is no one who has brought me suffering. By no one, I mean that I've already taken care of those thoughts, within myself, within my heart, that is. So no one came to mind. I mean to say that from start to finish all of that has been settled. If you ask me if there were not even a trace of such feelings, then I would say that I feel it has all been laid aside. Even the words that might once have hurt me, I cannot remember any of them, and with each individual person I have made my peace. Conversely, though, while I was thinking about those who might have caused me to suffer, I ended up thinking about everyone for whom I myself have caused anguish and pain. This is quite a shock to think of. We all think that other people understand us in the same way that we understand others. But unfortunately, things are not always equal in this regard. As such, I have caused suffering in others. I caused suffering because of who I am, and I wondered whether I have taken sufficient consideration for them. So those who cannot readily recall being hurt by others should be able to recall causing others pain on the other hand. Such situations definitely exist, and I think that looking back upon them is a good start. I pondered why I could not recall anyone who hurt me when I look back, even though I'm sure there were people who caused me anguish at some point. At different stages in my life, in retrospect, my troubles can be summed up as just one thing, and that is, I wanted to be loved by others. Truth be told, that I probably longed to be loved more in any form, yet that longing was not fulfilled and felt sadness in the past. However, at a certain point in time, my attitude had changed. It was about 3 or 4 years after I first realized my psychic ability to connect with the spiritual world. I no longer felt the sadness I felt for not being loved by others. It became instead a sadness that I have not given enough love to others. I was being alive, living, working and interacting with others, yet not being able to give enough love. And that was the sadness I felt instead. And the point at which my feeling of sadness changed was the very point at which I stopped remembering having been hurt by other people. It was the complete opposite. Although I had a vocation, a divine calling given to me, I was not able to fulfill my duty for a period of time. And during these years, that was my main anguish, and that is why my sadness of not being loved simply disappeared. I began to feel sadness because I myself was unable to give to others as I would have liked, and the other kind of suffering went away of its own accord, and my suffering became something of a slightly higher order. So that is how it happened. Change from asking to be given something to asking what you can give. I say this now as a lesson to you all, but it is something that I myself have actually experienced. I think that almost all of the suffering that I knew in the first half of my 20s came from not having been given enough love. But then at a certain point in time I cut through that and began to feel the sadness of not being able to give to others. And then that earlier suffering automatically disappeared and washed away. I was not thinking about how I had been made to suffer by a certain person or another. Instead, I was reflecting on how I had met certain people in this world, yet I had to leave them be or had no choice but to leave them to their own devices because of my weakness and lack of virtue at the time. When I meet someone, I think that we might not ever meet again. In Buddhism, ichigo ichie means once in a lifetime, and just like so, I was always thinking that I would never be able to meet these people again, that every meeting was to be our last. I began to feel stronger about wanting to leave something behind whenever I had a chance to meet someone, as my encounter will be ever so brief, just like Hermes' quote, "Love is like the wind." Once you start to feel this way, there is never an end to it, and so you gradually feel less and less of what you longed from others. All of you will also come to have this experience. The love that is to be given cannot be really understood by anyone. It has not changed from worrying about all the love they have not received to worrying about all the love they have not been able to offer to others. In a certain sense, suffering because of love that you have not been able to give is the enlightenment of the angels of light, and the sprouting of the enlightenment of the angels of light brings with it a fading away of the pain of not having been loved, and a substitution in its place, the sadness that comes from not having been able to love others. This is the moment when all of you will become angels of light. I would like everyone to experience this moment for themselves. Such sadness as this has no bottom to it. I fear it must be so. That concludes this meditation.
Thank you, Master Okawa. How was the meditation? Could you harmonize the relationship and release the stress? Please keep practicing. The lecture was given by Master Okawa, which is the love for the humankind, especially for you. I hope you can feel the love of God, love of Master Okawa. Thank you very much for joining us today. We'll see you next week. By then, Salam. Bye-bye.